Surviving humans, take note. Due to a series of extremely preventable events, your planet has ended. Reality has been restructured, and your continued existence is now classified as content. Congratulations! This podcast has been authorized to observe, analyze, overreact, and use humor as a coping mechanism to process the apocalypse as it unfolds, floor by floor. Listening is optional. Survival is not guaranteed. Welcome, crawlers. Let's begin. Nice. We did it! We're a podcast! Amazing.
Welcome back to Between Pages and Friends, a book club podcast hosted by Con and Lauren, two besties who read a lot of books, and Jon and Kyle, their gamer-turned-reader husbands who've agreed to read with them. I'm Jon.
I'm Con.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm Lauren. Today we are kicking off our discussion of Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman with chapters 1 through 17. This book club podcast is a safe space to read along spoiler-free since two of us have never read the series before. We are excited to have Jon and Con as first-time readers experiencing this week by week on the podcast, led by your two trusty rereaders, Kyle and myself. This means there will be no spoilers for anything beyond the chapter section each week. Today, that means there will be no spoilers past chapter 17.
And if you love what's going on here, you'll love it even more over on Patreon. All our Patreon tiers give you access to our Discord, where you'll find both spoiler-free and spoil-filled chat rooms for you to discuss these episodes. For $5 a month, you'll become one of our book besties and gain access to live events, our monthly book club, a wide variety of reading challenges, and the full archive of past content. Become a member of our found family by joining at $10 a month, and you'll enjoy early ad-free episodes, merch discounts, voting privileges, a private hangout space, and even more ways to connect with the four of us.
We are now officially attending 2 in-person events in 2026. You can meet us in person at A Sorcerer's Affair on April 25th at Bergmont Winery in Kansas. We are so excited to be hosting the VIP experience at this beautiful venue with some other amazing content creators. Tickets are very, very limited, so if you would like to come and see us and hang out in person, use code FRIENDS20 for 20% off your tickets now at bookishloreeventskc.com.
And you can catch us at the first ever Dreamers and Readers Festival on March 6th through 8th in Dallas, Texas. This will be a stunning weekend packed full of fantasy events and a giant, and I mean giant, expo. So head over to fantasticcollection.com to grab your tickets now. It's a choose-your-own-adventure kind of weekend where you can get tickets for as much or as little as you'd like. We cannot wait to connect with you all and all the incredible authors, vendors, and creators that will be there.
And now, a message from a listener like you. Here's a recent 5-star review on Apple Podcasts from our new bestie, Danielle Lee Brock? Something like that. Titled, My Favorite Podcast. I love this group! I found Between Pages and Friends during a bad time in my life. Oh. They make me laugh so much. I love being part of this community. I have 4 new best friends that love to talk about books as much as I do. Oh, thank you, Danielle.
That means so much.
Glad we were able to provide something for you.
So happy you're here.
We love you, Danielle.
If you want a little shout out on the pod like that one, we'd love for you to write a quick review for our show on Apple Podcasts or Audible. It helps new listeners find us and makes us feel super duper special.
It does. And it keeps us going into segments like Con's Declassified Fantasy Pronunciation Guide. This is the part of the show where we highlight all the new names and world-building elements in this chapter section. For proper pronunciation of each name, I am referencing the audiobooks narrated by Jeff Hayes, who is absolutely incredible. 10 out of 10. Would recommend listening to the audio if you haven't yet. So let's get into it. We've got some characters, our first handful of our main cast of characters, kicking it off with, no pun intended, with Carl, our MMC, a 27-year-old Marine tech. GCBWRNW Princess Donut, the Queen Anne Chonk, an absolute icon. Beatrice, aka B, Carl's ex-girlfriend, whereabouts currently unknown. Mrs. Parsons, Carl's grumpy old neighbor, R.I.P. Mordecai, a non-combatant NPC and guildmaster who works in the tutorial guild in the World Dungeon. Mordecai was once a skyfowl dungeon crawler who made it to the 11th floor, now a changeling currently taking the form of a rat hooligan as part of his guide role, and we'll get to that in a moment. Lastly, I have Lucia Marr, a 13-year-old girl somewhere in the world dungeon with 2 Rottweilers named Cece and Gustavo III. We have a new section for this series, and it is species. So first up, I have the Kuatine. They are the dominant species of the Borant system and principal owners of the Borant Corporation. The Ratkin race has several subtypes, including Rat Hooligans, which is Mordecai's current form, Rat Brutes, which are more physically powerful, and Rat Shamans, more magic-focused. Goblins with several subtypes, including standard goblins, goblin engineers, goblin bombards, goblin shamans, and shamankas, which are female shaman. The leader class of all goblin clans, second only to the war chieftain, or more rarely, the goblin warlord. And then we also come across changelings, which are shapeshifters, and some other species mentioned or introduced so far are babka protectors, trolls, gnolls, and other bird creatures and alien species. Okay.
Good job. That's so hard. You're doing great.
I don't know what any of this means yet.
I know, especially because you have no context for like any of those things.
No, I don't.
I love it. You're doing amazing.
Lastly, in world building, we have the Syndicate, an interstellar government consisting of over 3 billion star systems. They oversee planetary resource reclamation through at least 15 different corporations, including the 2 that we know so far, the Borant Corporation, sponsoring Earth's reclamation via the World Dungeon in this book, and the Squim Conglomerate. This is the company that destroyed Mordecai's home planet by sapping it dry, leaving it without atmosphere. The Syndicate also enforces strict legal codes that govern how planets can be mined and how survivors are treated. The Syndicate employs neutral observer AIs to supervise each dungeon's creation and ensure all regulations are followed. And then my final note is that there are 6 main types of bosses: neighborhood, borough, city, province, country, and floor bosses. There are also others called elites, but we don't need to worry about them yet. Kyle, what you got?
Nice. My turn to struggle through a wall of text of my own.
Great.
Welcome to Kyle's Dungeon Field Guide. I'll try to inform you on some terms that you probably won't find in our typical books that we cover. Level is the first one. This is probably less known in the late 80s and 90s, but thanks to apps like Candy Crush, I'm sure you're familiar with the concept. The important differentiation will be the level of character and the floor of the dungeon. These will not be related in any way aside from you want a higher level to survive the higher number floors, but they're not directly associated. Race, this may be easier to think of as species. Carl is a human, Donut is a cat. There are innumerable other possible species in this universe. Class you could think of as a job or specialization. We're not allowed to choose any until level 3, but you'll see things like fighter, rogue, wizard, soft serve, samurai, balloon animal, entrepreneur, and that sort of thing. Dungeon, I'm defining this mostly because it's not your typical fantasy book dungeon where someone is wrongly imprisoned and has to seduce the guard to escape, although that is not off the table either. This dungeon is more like a tabletop fantasy brick and mortar dungeon filled with traps and monsters to make and keep you dead, and fabulous treasure to entice you to go in anyway. NPC, in normal games, this means non-playable character. That's literally what it stands for, but these characters will range from bystanders to shop owners to emperors and gods. The point is, they are not the main character and oftentimes aren't even in the main cast. A mob means a non-player controlled being, could also be referred to as an NPC, but these are generally hostile ones, usually monsters. You'll hear people say they're going to go kill some mobs or something. HP and MP stands for health points and mana points. This is easy quantification for us on characters getting hurt rather than saying they were impaled and shredded, then inexplicably showing up in the next book. We'll just see they dropped to 10 out of 100 HP, and in games, all you need is 1 HP to be viable. Magic points work the same. They're a pool of power that players draw from to cast magic, and in this system sort of presents preset amounts of MP cost for a spell. So if a spell takes 5 MP to cost and you're at 4 out of 10, you'll have to wait varying amounts of time before you can cast it at all. A buff is a status effect that gives bonuses to a player, usually good ones. Think of your choice of caffeine as a buff to get you through a Monday morning. You've got a caffeine buff for a little bit. Ability stats. Basic elements of a crawler: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, and charisma. These are not altered permanently by training them, but rather by spending level up points on. While they affect the overall abilities of a crawler, they are only the broad strokes of who they are. Then we get into skill levels. Skills are the fine strokes of who a crawler is, specific things they're good at, and they can be leveled up by practicing that specific skill, as we see in Carl's pugilism skill and smush skill. The more he uses them, the more they level up. Tanking, I was informed that this word, or its usage here, might be new to some. So tanking is basically when one person volunteers to be a group's designated punching bag. Their job as a tank is to make the enemies so angry at them that everyone else can move around the battlefield and deal damage without being immediately turned into a decorative smear on the floor. They generate what is called threat, or aggro, short for aggression, which is basically gamer for hit me instead of them. They stack abilities like defense, health, and damage mitigation, and don't usually win by doing the killing, but by not dying while being beaten into oblivion while their friends hopefully do the damage for them. And I put a little gif of Captain America just saying, I can do this all day, because that's what tanking is.
Oh, do it.
Amazing.
And that's it. That's it for this one.
Wow.
Good job, Kyle.
Thanks.
Nice. All right, let's get into our chapter recaps,
Good luck.
shall we? Chapter 1, we meet Caro. Caro? I was thinking of Hero.
Dungeon Crawler Caro.
We meet
He's just a
Caro.
little Caro.
He's just a little Caro.
He's just a
He's
little
just a
guy.
good boy.
He's just a level 1.
We were going into Dungeon Crawler
Chapter
Carlos.
1. We meet Carl, the hero we never knew we needed, outside in a winter storm in Seattle with his ex-girlfriend's prized showcat, Princess Donut the Queen Chunk, Princess Donut for short. Having just witnessed the quote-unquote transformation of Earth, everything with a roof compacted in the blink of an eye, buildings, cars, probably umbrellas, all smushed and flattened, giving us an early decap, by the way. Nice. Cold, confused, and basically half naked, Carl is startled by a voice in his head and words appearing in front of his face in Minority Report fashion. We find out from this robot voice that Earth has been seized by the Syndicate, and surviving humans will have an opportunity to reclaim their lost matter. Everything that was crushed will be repurposed to create an 18-level world dungeon at the choice of the Borant Corporation, and apparently they have the rights to, quote, broadcast, exploit, and control all aspects of the dungeon, end quote. This AI will be supervising the dungeon, and entrances will begin to open up after the message is over. It starts to go over some options and like basic dungeon info, such as how you can choose to stay on the surface, but you're just basically on your own with probably very, very, very limited resources and no further communication. And then it goes through how many entrances there will be for each dungeon floor as you progress, plus the timing aspect, how you have to find the staircase and descend to the next floor before the time is up. Each floor has a longer time limit, and it recommends that if you do choose to enter the world dungeon, that you should find and complete a tutorial guild ASAP. Then the message ends. Carl is reeling and freezing. With Donut in hand, he heads toward a fire in the distance when horns go off and a dungeon entrance appears close by. Deciding it wasn't worth it to stay on the surface in only a pair of boxers, a leather jacket, and pink Crocs, he heads toward the opening. Chapter 2, Carl descends, coming to a large set of doors with a depiction of the dominant species of the Borant system on it. He starts to get used to his custom HUD. He opens to a long hallway with several other pathways further down. Another voice comes more enthusiastic in welcoming Carl to the first floor, and a timer for the first floor in his vision. Then it gives Carl and Princess Donut their crawler designations. It mentions a stat menu and then gives Carl some achievements, being rewarded with some loot boxes. They head down and pick a path, and as they go down one alley, Carl gets a new achievement about a trap and is promptly ambushed by a large tractor-like contraption called a goblin murder dozer and 3 goblins. He turns and runs, the goblins giving chase. He finds the door to the tutorial guild and bangs and shouts. Finally, someone named Mordecai answers, but he can't open up while there are mobs this close. Carl hits one and a health bar populates. Donut tries to squeeze by Mordecai, and he eventually does let them in right as the dozer blazes past, splattering the downed goblin. Chapter 3, and then they meet Mordecai, Guildmaster. He asks Mordecai about the goblins and finds out that they might wait or possibly go get more of their friends and come back. So Carl marches out and finishes them all off, basically drop-kicking one of them and making the dozer blow up in the process, earning him some more loot boxes. And we find out also that Mordecai is a shapeshifter, and he tells Carl about his experience with the dungeon. Chapter 4, Mordecai gives some history of what has happened to Earth and what this all is exactly. And just like Carl says, it's basically an alien television show. And then we get into the tutorial. He teaches Carl how to use his interface, his HUD, and menus, and where his inventory is, the map, his stats, all the things you need to know for your typical RPG. They get to pick a class on level 3, since that's a decent level to invest in a crawler. They don't want to waste investments before that time. Carl has a decent strength stat, so Mordecai suggests that Carl focuses on building that. And then they get to the ratings aspect of it all. And it's kind of set up like Hunger Games in a way. You want to get more followers and favorites and patrons as a way to quote unquote sponsor you. They can buy you loot boxes, and you generally just need to stand out to do well and to get more of those things. And once on the second floor, people can start tuning into the televised. And then they get to the ratings part. And it's kind of set up like Hunger Games in a way. You want to get more followers, favorites, and patrons as a way to quote-unquote sponsor you. They can buy you loot boxes, and you need to stand out to do well. And once the second floor starts, people can start tuning in on the televised part. Mordecai goes over some other particulars, the magic, hotkeys for potions and spells, etc. Then they get talking about the floors and the staircases. Each floor, there will be less staircases to show up, and they'll be more difficult to find, and they'll also start to be like blocked or guarded by bosses. Then Carl finds out that the furthest anyone has ever gone is level 13. They finally get to all of their loot boxes. Among torches, potions, and some flimsy weapons, Carl gets a few pretty sweet items. A cloak with a +4 constitution and a couple buffs, a shirt with +7 regen and a few debuffs, a goblin pass, a toe ring with +3 strength and +3 to powerful strike, and an enhanced pet biscuit that has unknown effects. And Princess Donut snatches it out of Carl's hand and eats, and all they can do is wait as she turns into an inanimate blob. As he equips everything and checks his personal stat on Frogger, a sultry female voice berates Carl for his clothing choice, and as he turns, all he can see is Princess Donut. Chapter 6, She Talks! And boy, does she have some stats, people. She goes through all of her boxes and just starts doing all the things. She learns Magic Missile, puts on a crown, which apparently puts her in a royal succession of something called the Blood Sultanate on the 9th floor, which means that they have to kill the Sultan and all other members of the royal family before descending to the 10th floor. And we get a sense here of why Mordecai says it's very important to read the description of your items. And since she has more overall stat points, she becomes the party leader and promptly changes their party to the Royal Court of Princess Donut, naming Carl as a royal bodyguard and herself as the Grand Champion Best in Dungeon. Very fitting. Chapter 8. As they leave the guild, Mordecai whispers to Carl something about it not being worth it until floor 12 and to negotiate as much as he can. We get some mystery here about maybe some political workings. As they start walking, and in a few short moments, Carl gets fed up and tries to get them to go their separate ways. But Donut apologizes and talks about how she knows neither of them want to go it alone and that she'll try and be more agreeable. And off they go. Donut quickly senses something close by and beams Magic Missile down the darkened corridor, hitting something, and they promptly get rushed by a bad llama as Carl makes quick work after punching it in its glowing throat right as it tries to spit a second glob of lava. They loot it, getting some steaks and a couple bags of meth, and now I stop to ponder the ridiculousness of the last two sentences. Continuing on, they make their way through, finding some bathrooms, some rats and cockroaches they easily dispose of, doing some leveling up and getting a new skill called Smush, which Carl gets for killing with his feet. And then they finally find a safe room, which takes us into chapter 9, which is actually the inside of a knockoff McDonald's with screens like a leaderboard and remaining crawlers and countdown, etc. And then we meet Tally, caretaker of said safe room and chef extraordinaire. They put in their orders and open some more loot boxes while they wait. Donut gets a collar charm called Slate of the Butterfly, boosting her leap ability, which she tests out on the playplace. They eat and plan to sleep, and then head to the scatterbug nest to clear it out. Chapter 10. They wake, get some breakfast, get some general info from Tally about safe rooms, and head out. They come across some groups of scatterers on their way, both getting to level 5 by the time they reach the nest door. The door has a do not enter sign in Spanish, and Donut peeks in. A lot of low-level scatterers and some garbage, and she mentions that it smells like the gym bag that Carl takes on the days the other guy comes over to the apartment. Oh. Carl has a great idea and pulls out the stick of dynamite that he got in one of his loot boxes. He lights it, tosses it in as they try and take over. Chapter 11, but it explodes shortly after he tosses it, and he takes some damage, but his buffs help him regain his health points fast. As they head in to investigate, music starts, and a new achievement pops up about dealing damage to a boss. Uh-oh. The door then promptly closes and locks behind them, sealing them in, much like our first boss's taut skin seals in the festering juices as Carl and Donut enter their very first boss battle in our very first Dungeon Crawler Carl exclusive segment, Boss Moji Battle!
Whoa!
Boss Moji Battle!
That was really gross description.
That was so
But I'm
gross.
here for Boss Mojis.
Very on
I didn't know
par
this
with
was happening.
the actual boss, though. Oh, man.
All
I'm
right.
scared.
Like the frightened cat, red X,
Understandable. Yeah.
a rocket, trash can, the little explosion like the BAM thing, an elephant, the green sickly like face, the freezing cold grimace face, megaphone. So I just have parentheses just because it's 2 letters, but I basically have verses right there. And then the angry exclamation speech bubble, parentheses, the throw up face and a cockroach into parentheses, foot, the long chain link, rocket, like a big hook, like a ship hook kind of thing, cockroach, foot, punching fist, guy shrugging, punching fist, skull and crossbones, confetti ball, crown, and a donut. And that is our very first Boss Moji battle.
Boss Moji Battle!
That's the very
It
first
occurred to me.
emoji decap. What a life.
Oh, wow.
True.
Put it in the scrapbook. I would like for you to know that listening to you just read off random emojis
Yeah.
to describe a battle scene is kind of what the inside of my head sounds like while I'm reading a battle scene.
Okay. Interesting.
All right.
All right. Chapter 12. They find a guild hall close by, and Carl gets some info on bosses. 6 main types, which Con went over in world building. The Hoarder, which they just defeated, was a neighborhood boss, which is the easiest to find and kill. She drops a neighborhood map, which uncovered a larger portion of the mini-map, and one thing pops up is the corpse of another crawler. But before they go to check it out, they open some more loot boxes, check more of their achievements, and Carl gets Iron Punch level 3, which enhances his bare-knuckle fighting even when wearing specific gloves. He also gets a Tome of Wisp armor, which negates some magic damage, and some knee pads, which gives him some damage reflect. They find out that sometimes crawlers will get pulled out for interviews as well during the whole televised process. Chapter 13, they head out and find the corpse, already looted, but find out that she was killed by another crawler, somebody named Frank Q, a single gunshot wound to the chest. Carl and Donut get on the same page about keeping an eye out for other crawlers and to not let on about what kind of gear they have. And then they go forth to hunt for Frank Q. That's a movie. Chapter 14. They make it to another safe room where some footage has started to run on the TVs, a summary of the previous aired competition. And then they get into the Earth and its competition with the dungeon. They show some footage of Earth, and they basically make it out to seem like the Borant Corporation is saving Earth from itself or saving the people from themselves. It shows a ton of deaths from the dungeon, and then they showcase a few crawlers or a group, and then that's it. An announcement comes with some patch updates and minor housekeeping, finishing with a timer remainder. Donut is furious that they were not showcased and tries to explain that they need to find a big boss to take down to be showcased. Carl disagrees and says that finding the exit is more important and that they have a lot of ground to cover to find one. Chapter 15, they've made their way around and they're actually end up where they initially entered the dungeon. It recounts how they've encountered some different monsters and how Donut discovered the party chat feature and has since been abusing it. Carl gets an idea. They head toward the goblin main hideout because he has his pass, and with it, they do not attack. Donut uses her now 37 charisma, which is bonkers, to talk them into taking them to one of their engineers. As they enter the goblin hideout, Donut gets in good with the level 7 shamankas, the female shamans, and they talk the two goblins into building them a motorcycle with a sidecar in exchange for telling them where they got the meth. As they snap some engineers into action, they talk about some of the other monster groups and how they're aware of like what's happening in the dungeon and what the syndicate has told them to help them go deeper and possibly eventually have peace. Chapter 16, they get a goblin copper chopper with sidecar, and Carl is able to lift it and get it into his inventory. And per their deal, he tells the goblins he got the meth from the llamas, and so they round up every goblin in the hideout and leave to attack the meth head llamas. With the place completely empty, they get to looting. And chapter 17, they fill up with as much as they can with their unlimited inventory space, many, many new tabs in their inventory. And then they make a plan to kill the chieftain. They build a huge cart, load it with barrels of the fun powder, placing shovels full of like nuts and bolts and other metal pieces inside to like shoot out shrapnel. They had a bunch of Hobgoblin Plus. It's basically C4. They rig it all up. They get everything in place. Donut peeks into the door and opens it just as Carl pushes with all his might on the giant explosive-filled sled, rocketing into the room. The door slams. Donut confirms that there was a giant, ugly goblin in there reading a book. So Carl jams down the detonator right as Donut adds, there were a lot of babies in there too. And what did I just write?
Amazing recap, John.
As always,
Wow.
yes. Great stuff.
Oh my God.
Man. Well, let's get into it in chapter 1.
Wow. Yeah, chapter 1, right out the gate, my first note, like first sentence, I was not expecting the southern accent for Carl, and it was cracking me up.
I didn't get really a southern accent.
I
I
don't
don't know.
think it's southern, but
It's
he
definitely
has
southern.
an accent. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
got Kronk.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Patrick Warburton.
He
for
does
sure.
sound like Kronk.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which makes the cat even
It was
funnier.
forever ago, but Kyle says he thinks the voice changes a little bit in book 2.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
not so
Yeah,
for
it's-
Carl.
yeah.
geeky.
He
It
would
does
mention that.
a little less Kronk-like.
Kronk.
It's still definitely like unmistakably Carl, but
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit less Kronk.
So Carl.
Cool.
Amazing.
Classic Carl. This is probably my favorite outfit that's ever been described ever in the history of any book I've ever read ever, which is when Carl is outside and it says, I was wearing boxers, a leather jacket, and a pair of pink Croc sandals that barely fit me. It's so funny. And it's perfectly described. I'm fully there with it. What an icon.
Perfect. Okay, I had to put in this quote, of course. It says, I was also holding a crying, scratching, squirming, and spitting cat named Princess Donut the Queen Anne Chunk. She was a tortoiseshell Persian cat worth more than I made in a year. My ex-girlfriend called her Princess Donut for short. I just stuck with Donut. I had to put this whole quote in here because I cannot express to you how much I love that this is the very first character introduced, even before the main character. Like, before he even says his own name, we get this whole description of Princess Donut, and I love this. And then he's also describing her bedroom in their apartment with all of her show ribbons and trophies and framed photos, and I just wrote, she's an icon. Immediately, I love her.
Yeah, and then it goes into, I think it even lists out some of like what she's won. And Carl starts to say, and let me tell you something about cat people, more specifically, cat show people. Actually, never mind. F those guys. It just made me laugh so hard. Oh my gosh. It's like, you know what? I changed my mind. F those guys. That was great.
It's so good. So Carl goes back to kind of retell the story of how he got outside. And he said, Donut, who had been sleeping right next to me on the bed, decided at that very moment that she wanted to, for the first time in her feline life, go outside and explore. But tonight, on the coldest night of the year, the furry asshole decided to Lewis and Clark her way out of the apartment. That was my first actual laugh out loud, was the Lewis and Clark herself. Oh, it's so good.
And then they go outside and we get the first line from Mrs. Parsons, and my jaw dropped. This was like the first character voice outside of the
Sure.
main character. And I was like, the voice for Mrs. Parsons.
And they only get
Amazing.
better.
Yes. So good.
And then, of course, the transformation happens. And I think it says something like that her sentence was cut short all of a sudden and she just like disappeared. But after a moment, he says, and then I saw it right near my feet. It was Mrs. Parsons' head. And I wrote, my boy. No, Mrs. Parsons. My boy.
I was just,
We loved you so much.
please come back.
Cry counter 1 for Jon.
I was just so pumped that we start off the book with a decap for you.
I know. Right off
that's
the rip.
It only gets better.
We start with a cat for Con. She's sold.
Yes.
Give a decap for Jon. A couple paragraphs later. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, good stuff.
Oh my gosh. My next note was that I died when this male robotic voice starts speaking and the text starts floating in front of Carl and the first line is like, surviving humans take note, and my jaw dropped just because this was crazy. But then it says it's a corporation and I just laughed so hard when they mentioned Borant because like I live in corporate America and having this whole notification was so funny to me.
Just a
I have another
friendly
note
email.
about some of the wording. Yeah. I hope this email finds you well.
And then, yeah, when they mention the Borant Corporation, it's to say that they've been assigned, quote unquote, regency over this solar system and can choose the manner of reclamation. And it says they have chosen option 3, also known as the 18-level world dungeon. And my initial reaction was like, wait, what were the first 2 options? But then I came back and I was thinking more about it. I was like, wait, how many options were there? How many did they get to choose from? But this is the one they chose. I don't know.
Excellent questions.
Well, we know one of them is at least
I
that
guess we
Battle
do know.
Royale they talk about
Yeah.
later. That's at least one other
Oh.
option.
That's true. Yeah.
Doesn't make
One
as
of
much
the
money,
3
though.
plus.
So.
Yeah, not as much
No.
money.
Yeah, not as
Can't
Just
fruitful.
the more logical choice. Yeah. Strategy and everything. The end of the syndicate notice, my note literally just said, this is hilarious. Oh my God. But the wording is, if you have any additional questions or you wish to file an appeal, such requests may be submitted in writing directly to the closest syndicate office.
Oh my God.
Like, they just told you have like 18 seconds
Yeah.
to get into
Yeah. No buildings anywhere near you. Like, where's the office? Like,
But that's so corporate. Just like.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get back to you in 6 to 12 business months.
just a very well hidden FU. It was wild on my and Lauren's first read. We were listening on the drive to meet up with you two in Nashville. We compromise on speed when listening together, but we had to like turn it up and slow it down. Or sorry, we had to turn up the volume and slow it down to 1 to like comprehend this info dump that was that syndicate notice. We like backed up. We were like, whoa, hold on. To quote Carl, my brain could barely parse any of what that voice had said.
Absolutely wild. Well, I had to put a little note in here because on my first read, like Kyle just mentioned, we were driving to Nashville and we listened to either most of it on the way there and the rest of it on the way back because it's about a 7-hour drive for us. And we only did audio. And so I missed the fact that in the actual book, there's like all these cute little pieces of art at the beginning of each like part or chapter and stuff. And I mean, they're not like going to change necessarily your reading if you're only doing audio. They're just a cute little something extra. But I wonder if like Matt drew these because there's one of Mordecai at some point where it still has like some of the like, you know, drawing lines around it. Like it wasn't fully erased. It looks just like a little sketch out of a book that was scanned in or something. And they're just really cute. So
That is
I'm
cute.
putting that on my, if we ever get to talk to Matt Dinniman, I want to ask him if he drew the drawings.
Good question. I love that. All right. That brings us into chapter 2. My first note was that I love the notification boxes and the tools and like how they're all described with like the little haptic notifications and stuff. It was also giving Spider-Man when he was trying to figure out how to view his options again and he just started saying menu, stats. Out loud. It reminded, I put a gif in here of the scene in Spider-Man where he's trying to figure out how to get his webs to come out. He's like, go. Go,
Web,
go. Shazam.
Fly.
That's pretty good.
It's exactly like that.
Oh, and then my favorite part of chapter 2 was the first achievement, wherein it said, congratulations, you've earned your first achievement, Crazy Cat Lady. And I highlighted that and put me in the world dungeon.
I think
I
if
somehow-
Minnie actually made it into the dungeon, you would probably survive. Just because her charisma.
Just because of her, not me.
She already has more viewers than we do.
That is true. Most of the people are
Her
just
ratings
here
would
for
be
her
way
already.
higher. Yeah, that's true. I do have to, I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast or not. Somehow, my freshman year of college, I very quickly developed a crazy cat lady reputation, but it was because I just tried to explain this to John recently. It was
Yeah,
because
try to
I
explain your way out of
quoted,
this one.
I do love cats. However, there was a like ugly Christmas sweater competition one day, like in front of the whole school, and I ended up winning, but I was in like the final 3, and I think I won at least. I can't remember now. I was in the final 3, and they had brought us each a microphone and had us talk about our sweater, and mine had a bunch of cat faces on it. And so instinctively, I got into full character and started quoting a YouTube video, but I don't think anybody at this college knew what the YouTube video was. So they didn't understand that it was a bit, that I was crying about how much I love cats.
Do you still know the
Wow.
quotes to this video?
What video is this?
It was the so
Can you put it in
was
Discord?
the I can.
Can you do it now?
It was a probably it was
Perform.
it was a video that I don't even know if it was a real video or if it was a bit when she first recorded it and uploaded it, but it was supposed to be like an eHarmony video. That's how old this was. It was her eHarmony profile video where this girl was trying to talk about all the things she loves, but she kept talking about cats, and every time she brought up cats, she started crying because she loved them so much. So she was like,
I
I
remember
really
this.
love cats. I love every kind of cat. There was a song made out of it at one point, but she was like, I just think about all the cats in the world and how I just wish that I could hug them, but I can't.
I remember that now. Now that line brought it back.
I thought you were talking about how you snuck a cat into the dorm room.
I
For a
did
long
not
time.
sneak a cat into the dorm. Someone else
you-
snuck it in.
Kept those cats hidden in your dorm room that someone else snuck into the dorm rooms.
But it's just for a week. His name was Captain Meowka. He was very sweet.
That was a cute cat.
Anyway, after the video incident where I quoted the video and then everybody thought I was like obsessed with cats, which was fair. But this girl that I didn't even know from first floor came up to my dorm in the middle of the night and was like, hey, I brought a cat into the dorm. Do you want it? And I was like, why are you even asking me? Just bring it up here. And then
I don't
Then
know
I
why they
kept
call
him
me
for a
Crazy
week.
Cat Lady.
but I did. He was so cute. Anyway, okay. Continue.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, the cover of the book that is now, is this traditionally published? Is that why it changed, Kyle?
You're asking the wrong person.
Okay.
I'm
Well-
going to go ahead and say yes, but not 100%
Sure.
true.
So the cover of the books that you would see at the store these days is a new cover. The original art is still on Kindle Unlimited and it is still on Audible. And so you can kind of see like Matt's original, I don't know, ideas for the book. And I actually really like them. I'm really sad the newest book won't have the original cover, but that's just a me thing. I know it gets a lot of hate on the internet. However, I like trying to find the picture in the actual book. And that's what happens here in chapter 2 right away when we get this little description of the third goblin, the one with a pot on his head driving the machine, and it had, you know, all the different descriptions of whatever that was. And so the cover is, you know, Carl running away from the little murder dozer or whatever. So it's
And
kind of nice to have
Donut.
a visual. Well, yes, and Donut, of course. How could I forget?
Put some
And
respect on her
the
name.
little goblin with a pot on his head. Oh, it's so
Cute.
funny. And then we get this one line from Mordecai here where he says, budget cuts, I'm guessing. They're always cutting corners. I thought we weren't opening for another 2 years. And I was like, ugh, freaking corporate budget cuts, man. Always messing everything up.
It's the worst.
Ugh. All right, chapter 3. We do officially meet Mordecai, and he says, my name is Mordecai, and I'm what's called a non-combatant NPC. I am like you. I'm a person whose world was displaced. This is many, many solars ago. I was a dungeon crawler just like you. I made it all the way down to the 11th floor, and I knew I would never make it any further than that. So we get this like big lore dump on Mordecai, and I love Mordecai. I'm excited. I also love his description of being like the rat thing from Ninja Turtles. What's that
Master
guy's
Splinter.
name?
Yes.
Master Splinter.
Yeah.
Yes. Hilarious.
Yeah,
That's
it
what I was
helps
picturing, too.
me visualize it for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely.
My only note from this was Carl talking to this goblin after the goblin speaks in goblin. Carl says, "You're in my world now. You need to speak my language, you weird green piece of shit." And I remember the first and this time, I was like, "Oh, okay. I don't know if I like this guy anymore." It's like, kind of, not a red flag, maybe a yellow flag, because it is legitimately an alien monster, I guess. But for a second, I was like, I don't know if I love the mindset, Carl. Let's tone it down a bit.
That's fair.
Well, then
Definitely
the goblin is
fair.
back. Like, you're not even speaking your own language. You're speaking syndicate standard. Like,
Yeah. I think it was funny that like him saying that like almost broke the goblin out of character to be like, you're not doing it either.
I did appreciate that.
Yeah.
Chapter 4. In Carl's POV, it says, B had always wanted to be on television. She tried out for countless reality TV shows. This is his ex-girlfriend he's talking about. Then he says, me, I'd rather have a hot poker stuck through my eye. I briefly wondered where she was and if she was alive. And I wrote, can't wait for them to run into each other at the worst possible time. That's it for now.
Yeah, and I forget exactly what, he's like recounting. Oh, this is when he goes over his intelligence, or he goes over his stats, and his intelligence is like really low. And he's like, what the heck? Why is my intelligence so low? And he recalls his friend, Billy Maloney. And he said, now that guy was an idiot. And he goes through like when he like urinates on a cop's motorcycle or something.
Oh my gosh.
And when I read the name, I was like, Bill definitely didn't make it.
Bill.
Normal name like Bill. He's definitely gone.
Bill.
He got crushed.
Lost another one.
I had written after that this is probably a good time to go over one of my favorite stat analogies to help people who are not familiar with the stats understand what they mean. One of my favorite stat analogies I ever ran into was strength is being able to crush a tomato, dexterity is being able to dodge a tomato, constitution is being able to eat a bad tomato without vomiting, intelligence is knowing tomato is a fruit, wisdom, which we're not using in this game, but just for the sake of argument, is knowing not to put tomatoes into a fruit salad, and charisma is being able to sell a tomato-based fruit salad. One of my favorite stat analogies.
I love that. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's perfect.
This is where we learn that ratings are the single most important thing in this entire game. And on my first read, that like took me out. I was like, what the heck am I reading? Like, what is going on? But okay.
I thought of Hunger Games though,
I'm
too.
here for it. I didn't make that connection at all. But, and that's funny because like Hunger Games is
That's
totally my
wild.
vibe.
I know.
But
Wow.
It is.
I don't know.
That's funny.
But we also learned that for Mordecai, during his crawl, he made it to the 11th floor and he managed to accumulate 30 million followers and 4 patrons. And it's the only way he survived. So it kind of maybe gives us like a baseline question mark of where we hope to be one day.
We, like, Between Pages and Friends, hope to have 30 million followers.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Just to survive, honestly.
Just to survive. We only need 4 patrons, LOL. But 30 million followers will do.
Yeah, please send this to your friends. Help us get there.
That must be a higher patron tier. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my
$1
God.
million per month.
My God, I'd quit my job yesterday. That'd be great. Okay. We also learned that there are a dozen types of like loot boxes that they can get, and they're coming in 6 quality of tiers. There's bronze, silver, gold, platinum, legendary, and celestial. So that's just a little world building note for us. And then during this conversation that he's learning about this, Carl, I almost said Dungeon Crawler Carl says, Carl drops the Boric Corporation's name, and immediately Mordecai kind of goes stiff and turns into a corporate, I don't know, worker, I guess. And he says, also, it should be noted that every time a crawler mentions the name of either the interstellar government or the organization sponsoring the current crawl, the AI system will record that interaction for review. If it is found a crawler is despairing either of these 2 entities, especially while on camera with live viewers, the crawler's experience may be accelerated. Important note.
Relatable. I love that. Oh, my mind was just blown in this chapter by the number of crawlers going from 13 million to 10 million so fast, but also that there were still 10 million people and only, like, at first I thought only one person wins, if that.
But there's like 8 billion people on Earth before this started.
True.
Right? And only like 13 million made it inside. So however many was squished up top, or I guess chose not to go in, if there were even those people that made that choice. So
Yeah.
that's, I know we're talking 13 million and then 10 million. That's a lot. But like
Yeah, the 8
Yeah.
billion to 13 million is
But
Absolutely
pretty
wild.
drastic.
think about it this way too, though. Half of the entire world was asleep in their house. So that's
Yeah.
half the population gone already. And then you count all the people who were awake in their daily lives, but also inside of a building or a car. How many people were left
Where-
after it was just crushed?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like wild that
Yeah.
in the hour, let's say, that took Carl from outside to where he's at right now, that many people died. And
Yeah.
the corporate's just like,
Crazy.
oh, yes, this is normal. No big deal.
Yeah, so it was that where I had stopped to type like, holy crap, like only one person wins, if that. And then Mordecai says, that's the deepest anyone has ever delved, kid. Level 13. And I wrote, no one has ever won.
And I wrote, time to man up, Carl. Let's go, buddy.
Oh my
Level 13
gosh.
for, what was it, half an hour, I think he said, before that guy died.
Yeah.
And it was another
Oh
human,
my
he said. It
gosh.
was another human in that dungeon.
Good point.
Oh.
But on to chapter 5, where we get a new achievement, podophilia. And I feel like finally I feel substantially less weird about making feet references with this series, because you kind of get it now. We're not just doing it ourselves. It's in the book.
Is in the book.
Ourselves. So I'd make hype videos for our series announcements, and when I was trying to come up with or start a hype video for this one, I hadn't started reading the book yet, and I asked Lauren and Kyle to just give me some like keywords for types of footage to be looking for, no pun intended.
Footage.
And it keeps cracking me up. And Kyle gave me a whole list, but he was like feet, and I was like, you want me to search the internet for videos of feet?
Yes.
Yep.
So
I
basically,
do.
the promo videos for this cost us a lot of money.
And I want you to do it at work while on their Wi-Fi.
With my work stock footage subscription
Wow.
from the corporation
I'm just
that I've
making full
employed by.
use of it. I'm just making like all these videos are here. Why aren't we using them?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, well, I also highlighted a new achievement from this chapter where it said, boom, you've caused a wall-shaking explosion within the dungeon. The last time these walls shook like this was when your mom came over for a visit. And I wrote, the title boom is for how bad Carl just got roasted.
Oh, God.
Oh,
And
my
then
word.
we get to them opening all of their loot boxes, and Donut eats the enhanced pet biscuit and turns into goo on the floor, and Mordecai explains that it's a transformation and that she's being changed somehow. He says, I've seen this before a few times. It won't be long, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And I was like, I am so excited for this, whatever was going to happen. I was like, I
That
am
was the
pumped.
end of the chapter.
Yeah, it was.
No, I was kind of freaking out for her. Like, I don't know. Everyone else is just, Carl's just like, oh, yeah, okay, sure, if you say so.
My initial thought was that she was just going to turn into she was just going to get like a lot bigger and almost turn into like a tiger cat kind of thing. Like she was going to turn into a bigger, bigger,
Derpy
meaner,
from-
fiercer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I kind of
just
love
a
that she
bigger
stayed
guy.
her little cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do
Yeah,
like.
me
It said
too.
that she got like slightly bigger, but I do like how Mordecai was like, "Yeah, you're gonna want to do that here, because if she does turn it into like some 12-foot demon thing,
Yeah.
you'll be safe." So I love that was like a possibility. Like, yeah, it could happen.
It's true.
Yeah. And then we get into chapter 6. Carl opens. He has a enchanted troll skin shirt of pummeling, and Mordecai says this is something that would be in a platinum or legendary box. And I was like, hell yeah, brother, this is what I'm talking about. Starting off with a nice high tier item. Oh yeah, I was excited for our bro Carl,
For our bro Carl, is what he said.
the boy Carl, our bro
Oh.
Carl.
Coral. My note from this chapter is also a hell yeah, brother moment of excitement, but it was about Donut the cat speaking for the first time. I wrote yes in all caps. I was very excited about this.
Her voice is everything. And it
It
just
is
brings
everything.
her whole character to such a higher tier than what she already is, as amazing as she is. It's so
Ugh.
good.
It is so good. So chapter 7, I highlighted her second line where she's like, first off, Carl, my name is, she like goes through her whole thing and she's, I'm going to have to insist you call me by my proper title. Like highlighted the whole paragraph and I was like obsessed with this. I love all of it. No notes.
It was good.
And he's never done it. He just is like,
Yeah, he's like, no, still don't know.
Not once, not a single time.
So then Carl ends up clicking on Donut's stats for the first time, and it says Constitution 2. And I literally laughed so hard at this. I was like, oh my God, like massive stats, terrible health. Just probably a very low health pool. And if she gets hit once,
she's out.
it's going to take her literally forever to regenerate any type of health.
Those
She's
pure
so
bed
cute.
traits.
That's why she keeps staying back, too. She won't use her claws.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
just a little
True.
guy.
She's just
She's
so
a little
cute.
baby.
Well, finally she starts talking. Mordecai says, I'm going to have to start the tutorial all over again. And Donut's like, not necessary. I heard everything you said to my manservant. Dead. He's like,
Yeah.
manservant? And they just move on. Like, she just doesn't acknowledge him at all.
I love her.
And then she opens the tome for Magic Missile. And when I read that she learned that, I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's going to come in handy big time.
Yeah. I just responded to your comment with a picture of the sports announcers like, now here's a guy who knows ball. Because I was like, I love the magic missile spell in any
Yeah.
game. If it shows up,
Classic.
I'm taking it.
Yeah, it's classic.
I had no context for that, so I appreciate your excitement about it.
It's a good one. That's what you should know.
It's a good one.
Yeah,
It
good
always
spell.
hits in D&D anyway. But
Yeah, always.
Oh,
Because it's magic.
Wow.
magic.
And it's a missile.
It's magic.
It's a magic missile.
Works a little
Best
bit
of
differently
both
here.
worlds.
Yeah, but it is
Oh my
still good.
gosh. Oh. Okay, this next part I think might be my favorite part of this whole chapter section.
Oh my God.
Where Princess Donut receives the crown and immediately puts it on. And then they find out that it's called the Enchanted Crown of the Sepsis Whore. And it says, warning, read this shit before you put it on. Placing this crown upon your head permanently places you within the royal line of succession for the Blood Sultanate on the 9th floor of the World Dungeon. Removing this item will not remove this status. Royal members of the Blood Sultanate will be required to slay the Sultan and all other members of the royal family before descending to the 10th floor. You'll only want to wear this if you're a bloodthirsty, raging psychopath. And I wrote, oh my God, it just keeps getting better.
And of course,
Oh, Minnie, you're just
Donut,
in
or
time.
of course, Carl's freaking out about that. And she responds with, it's purple. Purple is my color. Do you know how many ribbons or purple ribbons I've won? Do you know what it takes to get a purple ribbon? I was like, yeah, Carl, calm down.
Carl?
I saw a thing on TikTok this week of Steve from Stranger Things, you know, that like viral where he's like looking to the side and like really looks to the side clip thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, you should really look at a item before you put it on. And it was like Donut with the crown. And it was like her looking to the side. And every comment, every single comment in there was, it was her color. It was purple. It looked good on her. Yeah, defend her.
Real quick, while we're on the subject of that item, the achievement and item descriptions in this book are so good. I love it whenever a new one shows up. They're so
so
good,
good.
so fun to read.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then finally, at the end of the chapter, Princess Donut has figured out some of her party leader abilities, and she has the highest ranking of the two of them. And it says, Princess Donut has named your party the Royal Court of Princess Donut. Princess Donut has changed your title to Royal Bodyguard. Princess Donut has changed her title to Grand Champion Best in Dungeon. And then later, whenever they're like fighting stuff, like, you know, the boss and whatever, it's like the Royal Court of Princess Donut has defeated this city boss, assisted by her royal bodyguard. It's just very funny.
I love it. All right, chapter 8. My first note was a highlight of Carl saying, so what are you saying? That you're not a crazy stuck-up asshole princess? And Donut says, oh, I am a princess, Carl, but I'll try not to be too much of an asshole. I need you, and you need me, okay? Look, I'm really scared here. I don't want to be alone. And I wrote, Princess Donut has had more character development in 5 minutes than most fantasy characters do in an entire book.
Thank
I'm
you.
impressed.
And it's in her like third chapter as an actual
Right.
speaking entity. Like,
Yep.
she, like,
Yup. Love her so much. No notes on Princess Donut.
no, she's amazing. Don't change a thing, Princess Donut.
Yeah.
The conversation continues where Donut notices, or recalls back to actions that Carl had made back in Beatrice's apartment and says, you could have taken me back to Miss Beatrice's parents, but you didn't want to. You were looking at apartments, making sure they allowed cats. You were thinking of catnapping me. And it said, I just looked at her. It's exactly what I had been doing, but I hadn't even admitted it to myself. And I just wrote, best friends. They're going to be together forever. And then we get Donut shooting magic missile right away at something she can barely see. And we get the very first, God damn it, Donut. Oh, the first
Man,
one.
I just want to open up the floor to a little chat about the AI's voice when describing the Smith skill. What were your initial reactions there?
Uncomfortable.
That feels like an official red flag for the
Syndicate AI. I'm here for that.
I could see that, yeah. I will say, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, it is funny when you think that it is AI. It's just like,
Yeah. It's got a weird foot fetish.
Yeah. Even like the initial achievement was like, hey, that's my fetish. And then here was when Carl was like, does it have a fetish? Like, it's an AI.
yeah.
Well, and I think Donut's like, if the AI being in love with your tootsies is what gets us through things or whatever.
Yeah, makes it easier or whatever.
Yeah. Then take one for the team.
Take one for your princess, I
Take
think is
one
what
for
she
princess,
said.
yeah. This was the point, like, Lauren and I were listening to this on the drive, and everything was weird so far. We were trying to get a handle on what was happening, and only 8 chapters into this book, we got this weirdly perverted voice talking about feet. We just, like, looked at each other, and silently were like, are we continuing? Because, like, we're
That's
so
what we want to
lost.
do for the next 6 hours.
Yeah, and we did, and I'm glad I did.
And here we are.
Yeah.
I probably would have had the exact same moment. I mean, this is weird. This is straight up weird.
Yep.
But I trust you both. And so we just kept rolling.
Big mistake. Moving on.
Okay, chapter 9. My only note was 4.3 million crawlers left after just freaking out about it going from 13 million to 10, and now all of a sudden it's from 10 million to 4.3, and then it just like keeps dropping so drastically.
Well, and the voice, like the Syndicate AI at some point is like, or even the random lady from the corporate that talks and is like, it's going as planned or as normal. Like, no one's surprised that this is happening.
And you're like, great, okay.
And then I just love the scene of Donut getting the zoomies in the little play place. Like, I just love her being a cat, just in general. It's very cute.
Too.
And then she can now jump higher and everything. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that she got to test it out in the play place.
Yeah. And meeting Tally in the restaurant with the play place. Tally, first of all, great. Love him. And him referring to Donut as Your Highness gets me every time. Like, just on initial conversation, like, oh, Your Highness. I'm like, oh,
Yes.
And again, Carl's like, Your Highness, and nobody
Yep.
acknowledges that at all. Just continues as is normal.
I loved the voice for him too. His little accent was so cute. Chapter 10. Oh gosh. I've forgotten about this already. Oh no. The sign that says no entrar por orden del centro de salud, which means do not enter by order of the health center. And they just breeze right by it. And I wrote, oh no, not the health center. I was so nervous going into the next one.
Well, it makes me wonder where they pulled this specific room from Earth or whatever, like, or if it was just recreated to what it was. But the sign, the door, all that trash existed. I just don't know if it was all together. But
Yeah, because he had bathroom
crazy.
doors from all over that had, like, different languages that he talked about and stuff. So
well, even the like off-brand McDonald's was probably a restaurant from some other world
he
in
said-
those
wasn't it-
colors, or other country in those colors or whatever.
yeah, I think he said it was like Norwegian or something like that, where he said it was similar to it. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
Well, we walk into this health center room, and it said, Princess Donut says, it smells like that bag you take with you on those days that other guy comes over to the apartment. You know, like socks, but hundreds of them. I don't see anything else. Light a torch, throw it in there. And Carl's like, wait, what? Are you talking about my gym bag? Some guy's coming over to the apartment when I was at the gym? Oh, Beatrice! waitress. You dirty dog.
Dog.
You. Anyways.
Yikes.
I was, as we've discussed, wary, to say the least, about the AI after all the foot stuff. But this little description as he's holding the dynamite and the fake out like silence before a boom won me over a bit. I was like, all right, maybe this guy's got some good aspects I can deal with too.
I did appreciate that. I did not, however, appreciate chapter 11 because this is when the giant neighborhood boss starts speaking. And fun fact about me is that I studied Spanish for 8 years or so. I used to be fluent. I am not anymore, but I can typically pick up on most of this stuff if I'm just like casually reading something. And so the neighborhood boss first says, "Ayúdame por favor," which means help me please. "No sé qué está pasando." I don't know what happened. "Me duele el estómago." My stomach hurts. "No sé dónde estoy." I don't know where I am. "Por favor, tengo miedo." Please. Oh no, wait. What does tengo miedo mean? I think that means I'm scared. I have fear is what that means. "Por favor, tengo miedo." Please, I'm scared. And at first, I didn't believe her, and I wrote, "It's a trap." I thought that she was just trying to like lure them in to like under the guise of like they're helping her, whatever. And then it gets so much worse from there. But I had a note in between here that I was glad Donut acknowledged how disgusting this scene was because I was freaking out about it. Thank you, John, for your description of that earlier. But the last thing that this neighborhood boss says is, "Lo siento si fui una mala persona." I'm sorry if I was a bad person. "No quería que mi hija se enfermara." I didn't want my daughter to get sick. "No quiero estar en el infierno." I don't want to go to hell. Por favor, envíame a Jesús." Please, please, send me to Jesus. And I wrote, "No, wait, this is so sad. Is this for real?" And then she dies. That's the last thing she says.
That's so depressing.
Yeah.
It's so sad. It's so sad. Enfermara might even mean, like, I didn't want my daughter to be in the hospital. It's not the word for hospital, but if it's like the health center, like, I don't know if her daughter was there and she somehow got like roped into this whole situation. I don't know.
Was she
But this
stealing from them and that's why she was there?
Or she might have just
maybe
been spending all her money on helping her daughter not be sick, and that's why she became a hoarder, if that's what they turned her into, an exaggeration of what she was, just all the trash around her that she couldn't clean.
I don't know.
I will say that I was kind of evilly waiting for you to get to that part because I knew that you knew Spanish.
So rude.
Oh my
God. That is
I'm
so
here
dark.
for you. That is very dark.
Did I copy that in wrong? Enfermara. Enfermera is a nurse, but that would mean I didn't want my daughter to be a nurse.
Minnie.
That doesn't make sense.
Minnie's just looking at you.
Minnie's looking
She's
at
here for you. She knows you're emotionally
do
distressed
it.
right
You
now.
can do it.
Thanks, Minnie. Hold on. I am going to do a quick little translate on that part.
I do think it needs to be said while Minnie is on camera that you did buy her a tiara
Oh, yeah.
for our audio listeners only. And
Oh, I was right. It does mean I didn't want my daughter to get sick. Okay.
nice.
Never mind. Yes, I did buy Minnie a little tiara. It's right here. She likes that there's a string on it. She doesn't really like to wear it, though. So we could try it while you're sitting here so nice on the camera. Oh, look at you.
You're so beautiful,
Beautiful
Minnie.
lady. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
smushing your ear.
beautiful. Looky.
Wow, Minnie.
Oh, Minnie.
Oh, you're so beautiful.
Turn to the
Wait,
camera.
look
This
over
is your
here. Come
moment.
here. Minnie, come here. Wait.
She's like, please take this off of me.
Wow.
Please, mother.
Here you go. Please, mother. Here she is. In all her
Beautiful.
glory.
Yes.
Princess Minnie.
Oh, she is.
The Queen and
little-
Chunk.
Sepsis whore crown.
Off to kill the Sultan. Okay, you're being a very good sport. Thank you, Minnie. So
Good job,
sweet.
Minnie.
Good
You can
job.
have an enhanced pet biscuit after the episode.
I did give her some treats when we tried on her crown for the first time.
Nice.
Oh, see, she's purring again. We're good.
All right. Well, chapter 12 is when Princess Donut learns that sometimes after people win boss fights, they'll pull them out of the game for like 10 minutes or something for an on-camera interview. And she said that, or I think it's Mordecai talking, and it says that show is almost as popular as the official program itself, though they'll never let you watch that one. And then Donut's eyes gets big, like, they interview people? Carl, we need to be on that show. Make it happen. Donut.
She's the best. I want to watch that show. It's like what do they call it when they do that? They pull people for the reviews, the talking heads. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, talking heads.
It's almost like Love Island, where they have, a couple episodes of Love Island, and then they'll do that like after sunset or whatever it's called, and they'll interview them after they leave, or interview their families and all that stuff while they're still in the villa. That's how I view it.
The villa. Now I'm just gonna think that every time we see a new character, he's like a goblin.
Hey, welcome to the
a
villa.
hot new bombshell has entered the villa.
dungeon.
Nice. You're welcome for that.
Thank you. Chapter 13, they see a dead crawler on the minimap, and it says, killed by crawler Frank Q. And my first thought, just upon knowing that this was a thing that other crawlers could see, was, oh my gosh, are they going to start seeing corpses killed by B at some point before they actually find her? Or
Ooh,
Bill?
what a theory. Forgot about him already.
Back from the dead.
What a theory. I like it.
Thank you.
For it.
I just think it'd be funny.
Well, Donut's response to it is, well, maybe Frank Q isn't a human. Maybe he's one of those Cocker Spaniels. She sniffs at the corpse. Yes, this is definitely the work of a Cocker Spaniel. Oh, Donut.
I love Carl's response to that too. Like, it's a gunshot wound. Like, it's not a dog. And she's like, I don't know. I think if
In Donut's defense, she's shooting magic missiles out of her eyes right now. So.
Great point.
I will say, though, that this empathetic side of Carl is something I love about him, because he is rough and tumble and like spur of the moment planner, but he mourns not only this random person's death, but the fact that he thinks, like his quote is, I'm never going to know her story. Nobody's ever going to know it. Speaks volumes of who he is, I think. And then following it with saying that he would also like to find the guy who did it, leading into him just saying, come on, Donut, let's hunt. I was like, that's BA. Like, he's going to track this guy down. But it goes into chapter 14. We learn a little bit more about Tally and how he's talking about, sometimes they give planets different options when they come. And he literally went into servitude so that his planet wouldn't go through this, or so he was told, as far as he knows. They told him that they wouldn't take his planet, and I was just like, what a guy. Like, I don't know if he was the only one to do this. Surely I think they would have taken more. I don't think one life would have done it for him, but what a guy.
If he's that amazing of a chef.
That's true. Yeah,
that is
who
true.
knows how many planets he's cooked for.
And then we finally get to watch the opening show, where I guess they show everyone in the galaxy what has happened in the first couple hours of the crawl, and they get to see a little bit of other crawlers here and there. And this one just blew my mind. I think I just didn't register that Lucia Marr, when we meet Lucia Marr in this little video, that there is a 13-year-old. Or that there would be other children. Like, I teach 13-year-olds. I am with them on every day. And so to think that if this happened in real life, that some of my students could potentially be like in the crawl or something, it made so real for me, I think, in this moment. And she just has this determined expression on her face. Later we see her in the video again, and she has like all these level ups and stuff, but she keeps her little yellow soccer jersey on, which I think is cute. And I also thought it was funny, though, that she has her dogs named Cece and Gustavo 3, because there was 2 other Gustavos that entered before this Gustavo, and so he is Gustavo 3. It's just hilarious to me.
But no other CCs.
No other CCs. This is the first one. Absolutely. But yeah, there is a 13-year-old girl just on her own too. Like, that is wild. It's just the thinking of my own students thing for me. That makes that crazy.
Or like any like little kids who were outside at recess or something, like when this happened, or
even when it says if you think about it, I mean, obviously humans, big deal, little like babies and kids, crazy. But it says like any animal above a certain weight that enters the dungeon is given a crawler designation. And I've always wondered, like, surely Princess Donut does not weigh that much. So what is The weight limit. Like, are we talking?
You got squirrels in there?
Squirrels was the exact animal I was thinking. I was like, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're not going to go as far as like ants because that would be crazy.
No.
But it is crazy, so who knows?
Maybe that's like half the things getting killed is people just step on an ant and they don't know it. And now it's like
Yeah.
the millions of people.
They think that it's
the
all
millions
denizens
of
of Earth.
crawlers. Yeah, it's just.
Oh my gosh. Literally ants crawling through the dungeon.
Which does mean that Cece and Gustavo 3 are also crawlers.
Yeah.
Like that is their party.
Yeah. Crazy. So there could be like little armadillos in there or like a little fox. Onyx could be a crawler.
Oh my god. There could also be like elephants and
Yeah.
Well, I
lions.
don't-
Well,
and
could they
Depending on
have
how
made
big
it?
the
bears.
through
Oh
the-
my.
Yeah, through the staircase.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe
like
big
that's
the
the other
staircases
thing. A lot
are.
of like cows and horses, don't they not go downstairs?
Well, if
Isn't
you
that a
push
thing?
them.
They don't go down staircases. Okay, Kyle. Can't they like not? Isn't that a thing? I feel like I
have no
remember.
idea. I know
I don't
pigs
know.
can't
The-
look up, but I don't know about cows and
Oh,
stairs.
really?
Yeah, pigs, their heads don't allow them to look up. So they,
Are you
you'll
talking
see
about actual
videos.
pigs or swords?
Pigs.
Just want to be clear.
Not pig stickers.
Okay.
There's videos online you'll see of people picking up their pigs at night so that they can see the stars. Otherwise, they would.
That's adorable.
It is cute, but the pig is always like freaking out. Like his whole world just turned in a direction that he thought it couldn't
Appreciate
turn.
you acting that out
I
for
was
us.
not made for this.
Can you please show me those videos tonight after this?
Oh,
recording?
sure.
Oh.
The only reason I have that knowledge, if it's even true, is I remember in my high school there were rumors of like past senior pranks, and one of them was that they brought, I think it was a cow, into the building and let it up the stairs because they can go up the stairs but they can't go downstairs. So they had like led a large animal into the school and put it
In
up on
Ohio?
a higher floor in Ohio.
did that in
We have a
Ohio?
lot of cows here, and
Don't you live in the city?
We got spare
mostly
cows for pranks
farms.
if you guys want any.
yeah.
I mean, I lived in
do
Iowa,
live in
and
the
ours
suburbs.
were like releasing pigs into the school, and then there was
Yeah.
only there was 4 pigs, but they numbered them 1, 2, 3, and 5. So then you thought you were missing that pig the whole entire time.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. So I do live in the suburbs of a
Makes
large
sense.
city, but
All right.
I feel like a cow
it
would
might
at
have been a
least be
horse.
Afraid to go. I know for a fact horses can go up and down stairs. I do that all the
Oh.
time
Knows
in video
for a
games.
fact.
Come on.
Video game.
And that's accurate. I actually did that this
No,
afternoon in my video game.
I feel like a cow would be scared to go down. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like it would take a lot of force.
Yeah.
know
I mean,
that
even sometimes
hamsters
dogs are scared to
are
go
not.
downstairs, like little
Yeah.
dogs.
Oh, that's true.
Stupid.
Little
Yeah.
dogs.
Hamsters have no
Sometimes
fear,
I'm
'cause I don't
scared
think they
to
have a
go
sense of height.
downstairs.
What other animals and height differences and stuff can we talk?
Drop a comment if you have personal experience with a large animal who was scared to go down the stairs.
If you
How
ever
small
pushed
of
a
an
cow
animal?
down the stairs.
How small of an animal do you think made it into the dungeon?
Yeah.
How much does the average Persian cat weigh?
That's a great question. That we need the audience to answer, not Google.
No,
we
there's
will wait
literally
several
no
weeks
way
till this
we will
episode
ever
comes
find
out to get the answer.
All right, chapter 15. I'm gonna talk about Princess Donut some more. It's just gonna keep happening. I'm
We
not
only really
sorry
have a
about
couple
it.
characters, so that's fair.
Oh wait, this isn't even my Princess Donut note. This is me saying, I suppose this tells you everything you need to know about how my brain works while reading fight scenes. I guess other than that, it sounds like John's battle. What did you call it? Bossmoji
Smoji
battle.
I said Veronica. Whoa. Whoa,
Different kind of fight. But when Carl's describing the slime mobs, it says, the right arm of my leather jacket melted away. So is he just out here in the heart boxers and now a one-armed leather jacket?
Yes.
Affirmative.
Yes.
But he already had the shirt on under it. So did that sleeve stay intact?
I'm
I
Right?
think so, maybe because it's a magical item? Question mark?
His like super fancy one that was supposed to be like legendary or something?
I can't remember if
tunic?
it had sleeves. Because some tunics do
Oh,
not.
I guess if it was, maybe
Yeah.
it didn't. So he has one leather sleeve now, which
Yeah.
reminds me of Dimitri Martin. That's a pretty deep cut. So if you know, you know. Shout out to my fellow fans. That's what I was concerned about though during this whole battle scene was that he now just has a leather jacket with one arm. I didn't
Yes,
think
he
his ensemble could get even more ridiculous, but
It's not
Here we are.
ridiculous. It's amazing.
it is amazing. Also, Donut sending boomer text to Carl is everything I did not know that I needed.
It's great.
Highlighted where it says Donut and then all caps. Yes, okay, there will be monsters in there. That's how
And
you
it's
would text,
okay.
isn't
O
it,
dot
Mindy?
K dot.
That's amazing.
And then we get here that Donut has a charisma stat point of 37. And I was like, this is absolutely bonkers. And I was thinking, I have to imagine that the stats cap at 100. So the fact that she's already at 37 on floor 1, they're only on the first floor, is just wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, she literally just talks and everyone like those
Yeah.
goblins just sit down and they're just like,
Yeah. She like names them and they're like, all right, we're just going with it, I guess. And then they're talking with the goblin shamankas, and Donut named the one with the facial piercings Rory and the other Lorelei. And I was like, oh my God, Con is going to love this.
And I did. Thank you.
I
was
love
like,
this
wow.
part. And they just like go with it too. Like no one questions her
Yeah.
or says like, "Oh, my other name is this." They're just like, "Oh, okay, I am Rory now." Understood.
Which was hilarious until she tries to like proposition Carl for sex later. And I was like, oh no, Rory.
Well, and they're like,
Where
"Where'd
did
you
we
get
go
that
wrong?"
meth?" Where did we go wrong? Oh my god.
This is what happens when Amy Sherman Palladino leaves. It all
Why
flies
did you drop out of Yale?
I do love it that it's all like they describe it as shows that were just left on when Donut was home alone.
Yeah.
She uses all those names. It's so good.
I'm calling back to earlier when they did the video showing like how the syndicate has saved Earth and all this stuff, and it was like, and that Charlie bit its finger kid. And I was like, nice reference.
Just to top
I
off
was-
all the horrible things that happened on Earth.
Yes, exactly. It's a top tier horrible thing.
Which is, it is very corporate though for them to be like, we need videos of things that are terrible that happen on Earth, and like someone YouTubed something and it was like the top most watched video, and they're like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll just do that. I'll
Sure,
email it
yeah.
to my boss, they'll use it.
Charlie.
Well, yeah, Carl's talking to these goblins about like what happens when the floor collapses to all of them, because obviously he has to leave to the next floor, but they say, but it is only you who dies when the floor collapses. For us, we go to sleep until the next dungeon opens. We'll open our eyes and it'll be the same as it has been, just another day. But one of these days we'll wake up and we'll be deeper. That's what they tell us. Kill the crawlers, get better at killing, and you get to go deeper. And one day, eventually, we'll be so deep that crawlers will never come, and we will finally have peace. We will have peace and a place to live and breed and have our little ones run free and not worry about killing for survival. And I thought it was so crazy that with this and like the earlier goblin telling Carl they programmed his brain to speak in Syndicate Common, I was like, they're just like actors in almost like a fright house dungeon, just doing their job until they can live life in peace. And I was like, that's absolutely wild to think about, that they didn't just make a dungeon that was like, whatever, AI monsters, like they're
Yeah.
living things with a story, and that it's crazy.
Oh, it is crazy. I love that they also come up, like there's the engineers and they come up
Yeah.
with stuff, which is my next note for chapter 16. First of all, the entire description of the goblin copper chopper is absolutely hilarious. And I said, please, can I have some fan art?
Yeah, and I said, lucky for you, this
yeah.
book has so much fan art, both
So
official and
much.
fan made.
Oh
Often they
my
become each
gosh.
other. This is art I have, and we'll post it in the Discord too, but it's made by Reddit user Arlie G. That was actually used for the cover of the Czech translation of the book.
What?
You
Whoa,
can find
that's cool.
this book, and I can put the extended one in Discord. It's actually narrowed in on this picture, but there's like, you can see a bathroom door off to the side because the bathroom door is the back of the book. But it is really,
Oh my gosh.
really good art. This is my first time seeing it when I
amazing.
looked it up. But yeah, he's got the one leather sleeve and everything.
The
Wow.
lasers coming out of Donut's eyes are absolutely insane.
They're incredible. And she's got her little butterfly collar on.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
tossing
And
that
her-
diamond
And look, he's got
around.
one leather
Seat on the
sleeve.
skull.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah.
got one leather sleeve.
Oh my gosh. I love the kney pads too. I was not
I
picturing
love
them
that.
like that.
By his feet are sparkles. Oh, that's so
Wow.
But yeah, there is
this
a lot
is incredible.
That
like
is
a
great
ton, a ton of fan art of this book. So like, if you
Keep
guys ever
asking.
want any
Amazing.
for almost any character,
Okay.
Lauren and I can look it up
Nice.
because there's so much of
So
it.
much.
Oh,
But
wow.
also,
Okay, I want some of
be
Mordecai
careful
Yeah,
because
also
there's
be
so
careful.
much fan art out there.
No, I'm not looking up anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So there was that. I love the description. But then also, I busted out laughing when the engineer was explaining how it worked. And then he said, "This baby will outlast you." And he slaps the side of the bike. The handlebars fall off, giving used car salesman. And I was trying to find a GIF for that. And I ended up finding this one from Anchorman 2 where he's doing like a Dodge showroom commercial. And he's like,
Yep.
comfortably fits 2 turkey sandwiches, 6 hammers, 70 packs of gums, 20 rulers. He just keeps like, going on and on about the glove compartment. And then my last note for this chapter was it's Carl saying, "Did we really just start a meth war between the goblins and the llamas?" And Donut saying, "Yes, we did, just like I planned." If I had to pick one quote to describe this book so far, this would be the one. This is it.
That's fair. Amazing.
Pretty good depiction of the craziness and ridiculousness of the entire thing. And then we get into our final chapter for the section, chapter 17. And I mean, our only note here was the very last line where it says, where Donut adds, "There were a lot of babies in there too," Donut said in the last moment before the blast. And I was like, oh my God.
Want to stop? It's not.
And I put LOL at first, but then the more I thought about it, I became more disturbed over the last few days. I was just like, oh God. What just happened?
When I was listening to, I had the ebook open, but I'm listening to the audiobook and I'm doing some stuff and I hear the last line and then it goes 18 and I like whipped my head around and I was like, this is the stopping point. And then it just played the first line of 18 and literally all I heard was, "God damn it, Donut." I was like, "God damn it, Kyle."
Yeah, this was Kyle's choice of a stopping spot.
Yeah.
Ugh, evil.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
That was
Wow.
great. This is so fun.
Yeah,
I'm
that was
having a
fun.
ton of fun covering this book already, and it only gets better. So let's talk our thoughts on characters, world building, maybe something that was your favorite, the writing, the audiobook narration. What do you got from this first section, chapters 1 through 17? John.
Yeah, just overall, absolutely incredible. Super pumped. The characters so far are like quite memorable and quirky. Obviously, we've been mostly following Carl and Donut. I was super excited to see what would happen with Donut with the enhanced pet biscuit, and it did not disappoint. The world building, I think, is impeccable. I just love that he turned this type of system into something like this. It's just really cool. And I can't wait till we get to lower floors and see how things change. My favorite thing so far has probably been just the utter nonsense of the item descriptions and achievements and everything.
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh, what a great writing. I mean,
Yeah.
just really, really good.
It's like horrible things are happening, but it's just filled with so much joy at the same time.
Yeah.
You just can't help but laugh. And
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's great.
All right, Con, what do you got?
Yeah. Obviously, first and foremost, I am wholeheartedly obsessed with Princess Donut. Second, this book is unlike literally anything I have ever read. I am constantly laughing out loud. I'm incredibly impressed with Jeff Hayes' narration already, which we've talked about several times, and I'm sure we will continue to talk about it every chapter section. And since this whole world is completely new to me, like I've never played RPGs, like I'm not very familiar with the terms and like all of that. I feel like a true passenger princess, which is honestly so nice after reading so many romantasy books with very similar tropes or formulas. But they do, even though it's like new to me, I feel like they do such a great job walking you through it and making it very accessible to like anybody to just like pick up the story and be completely thrown into this chaos. I feel like I'm not quite at the like just can't put the book down stage yet, but we're only on chapter 17 and I am still desperately trying to claw my way out of a reading rut right now. So I don't think that's really the book's fault, but I am really enjoying it and I'm very excited to keep reading, especially being a first-time reader with Jon again. I love being able to like keep pace throughout the week and share reactions and stuff as we go. It was so fun.
I love that. I'm also kind of in a reading rut, and this is kind of giving life. So
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I love this series so much. And the reread has just been so much better. I think on the first, I wasn't really excited to read it. Sorry, Kyle. But he was like, let's read this, and showed me this weird cover of a guy in heart boxers getting chased by by a goblin wearing a pot on its head. And I was like, okay, sure, babe. You know, it's especially like a year ago with trying to get your husband to read with you and some of those things. Like Kyle's full on hooked as far as doing the reading thing, but like, I'll read one for you, sure, kind of a thing. But I am absolutely hooked and read the entire series with him all year and have absolutely loved it. It's been really fun going back to the beginning even now and just seeing how things have connected and all that kind of stuff. So that's been really fun. However, I do just want to be upfront on the podcast. I fell asleep in the car on the road trip and definitely missed large chunks of this book. Yes. And while I did, maybe this is not fair, I did mark it as read on Goodreads for that year. So if I need to take one down, I can.
How dare you?
I know.
At Goodreads, are you listening? She cheated.
So I haven't gotten there yet, but I am sure there's going to be chunks of this book, large moments, a whole battle scene, I have no idea, that I slept through. And will be new for me too, just on this one. The rest of them I was fully aware,
Amazing.
but on this one. So I'm excited.
That's hilarious.
What about you, Kyle?
I remember seeing this book on a shelf at a store and thinking I liked the design, the font, and all that. And the word dungeon as a D&D nerd is a magnetic word. It truly, like, I saw it before any influence from social media, and I was like, oh, maybe someday I'll read that book. So I never got it for some reason, but on the road, yeah, audiobook, got on a whim, had a credit. I will admit it was almost off-puttingly crazy at first, but I am so glad that I went through with it. And now, having read the whole series, it is like an all-time favorite series for sure. Every character is just so distinct. Almost every chapter, even the short little ones, add so much to like the stakes and the tension and the story. I feel like I'm constantly learning something new about the world building, especially as early on as we are now. I can't wait to get further into it with all of you, because this truly was just the like most basic introduction to this world, and it is going to get wild.
If it's not already.
That makes me so excited.
On to some theories from our newbies.
I can foresee this Frank Q fellow possibly camping the stairs down to the next level. That just means he'd be waiting and hiding at the entrance for unsuspecting crawlers. Basically like an easy kill and loot situation. Even though Carl is encouraging Donut to get in there with her claws, I think she's making the right move with mainly hanging back. Her constitution is god awful, so even though they've leveled up, she still can't have that many hit points, and obviously her regeneration is going to be awful. I would be concerned for her in future scuffles if she were to get like too close. So, like, I'm thinking for her best bet is to, stick to the spells that rely on her intelligence and or charisma to kind of build up from there. Other theories than that, I think it would be an interesting twist if they did run into B, but she would be a really tough boss instead of a regular crawler.
She's been like reformatted.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because I don't know. With
you
the whole...
had another one too.
I did?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
What was it?
About the goblins.
Oh, well, I don't think that's true anymore, though, because of like what they said. Because I thought when they were talking about going like down to more floors, I was thinking that they might get into a situation where like they'll meet them again and they'll be like, "You killed all of our babies," and then they're in like a really rough spot. But it kind of sounded like they're only on that floor, and then they go to sleep, and then they wake up on the next dungeon.
Yeah.
Whenever the next dungeon is, not the same dungeon that Carl would be a part of.
If that's even true.
Yeah, so I don't know. Because I don't know, with the hoarder, I was just thinking while we were talking about it, if like, obviously it's all randomized probably, but if she was possibly in the health center, like she was just one of the people in the health center, and she was just randomly chosen to be made into the boss. So maybe something will happen, something like that. happens with B and they end up fighting her as a boss or something. I think that would be pretty interesting. And to see like what she is and they're like, oh God, we have to kill her. Like that would be kind of fun, honestly.
Poor donut.
My God.
I mean, come on. Yeah.
All right, Con, what do you
Pretty
have?
much it for me.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start with theories for this book because
Valid.
it is so ridiculous and it's escalated so very quickly. The only thing that came to mind while I was reading were the things I've already kind of touched on. Like I could see us running into B at some point, and I would love for Carl and Donut to start encountering a bunch of corpses that say killed by Crawler B or like someone else that Carl knows. But purely because I think it'd be a funny way to find out someone you know is in the world dungeon, especially your ex-girlfriend. So that's just more for my own entertainment, not really for... it doesn't have to be B. I just think it would be funny. Oh, hi, Mimi.
Amazing. Okay, well, that takes us to the cry counter. And so far, no one's cried. So,
Boo-hoo.
I guess we'll see if that happens.
We'll see what happens with the babies and then find out.
Yeah.
For real. For real. I'd be weeping at the start of the next chapter section.
If the baby starts speaking Spanish too, I'm out.
All right. Well, that was a lot, and we're just in the beginning. So next episode, we'll be covering chapters 18 to 33. Make sure if you're reading ahead not to throw spoilers around. If you, like Con and John, are new to the dungeon and need a safe room, head over to our spoiler-free discussion channel to talk shop with all our fellow new crawlers. If this isn't your first crawl, head over to the spoiler channel that is an absolute spoiler pit of discussion with Lauren and myself. You can join us through Patreon to read with us or read ahead with others. Also, be sure to hit up our store for series-only merch. We have some fun DCC-themed BPNF gear to grab that will only be for sale for as long as we are covering these 3 books. That's right, these are fleeting items. Hurry up and grab some. Also, after we're done covering these 3 books, we'll have a special guest on to talk about them. You may have heard of him. We might have mentioned him a few times in this episode. His name's Jeff Hayes. The Jeff Hayes. A.K.A. Carl, A.K.A. Princess Donut, A.K.A. Mordecai, A.K.A. Rory, A.K.A. Lorelai, A.K.A. B.A. Miss Parson.
AKA Brown Lightning.
We're super excited to have him on for sort of an end of the 3 books we're covering, and we'll have him on to just talk about everything. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. New achievement. Repeat offender. Still here, huh? Well, you completed your first full recap episode. You now understand the format, the voices, and that emojis are being used in ways God never intended. You could leave now, but you won't. Reward. Listening prowess. Lasts until someone speaks. Yes, you included. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Between Pages and Friends. Check out betweenpagesandfriends.com for merch, events, and to sign up for our newsletter to keep up with all things happening at BPNF. Until next time, stay wordy, stay nerdy, don't stress, and stay blessed. Now get out there and kill!
Yeah!
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, brother!
BPNF is not affiliated with any murders that happen because of this podcast.
Really, just murders in general, but
Yeah,
you
we
know.
don't want any of those. We're not affiliated with those people.
Don't do murder.
I'm not
Don't
affiliated with
murd.
her.
Don't murd.
Haven't you heard?
Murder.
Don't murd.
Oh my God, just end the episode.